Hey everyone, Monica Dalton here once again, about to enumerate for my lovely ETEC 570 class, all about topic C. Ta-da! Research findings. I know this is probably not the most interesting one, but I figured a lot of you would do A and B, so here we go, giving it a shot. Okay, so the primary article that I would like to summarize for y'all is Augmented Reality and Gamification in Education by Lampropoulos, Karamopoulos, Diamantaris, and Evangelides. This paper was published in July of 2022 and serves as a super comprehensive, very methodological, systematic lit review of around 670 scholarly articles in which the authors use 5 specific databases to choose their material from. But before we delve into the nitty gritty any further in this article, a little bit on what actually defines augmented reality and gamification in the broader context, slightly outside of the narrow scope of education.
There's a better, more effective way to learn new skills and have fun doing it, all on your own time. It's called augmented reality gamification. Augmented reality technology enriches the real world with digital information and media, such as 3D models and video, overlaid in real time on your mobile digital device. Augmented reality is using your phone to put digital furniture into your home to see if that new couch will fit. It's holding your tablet up to a work of art and getting detailed information on the artist, style, and history. Or it's catching virtual creatures running around in a real, digitally augmented world. Gamification is the application of game-playing elements to non-gaming areas of activity. Gamification is checking into your favorite cafe to become recognized as the king of cappuccinos. Or it's accruing virtual points for watching videos and increasing your knowledge on a certain subject. It's completing quests, vanquishing foes, and leveling up your life. Augmented reality, coupled with gamification, is changing the way we learn and attain skills, not tomorrow, but today.
Hey everyone, Monica here. Just a really quick disclaimer. The decision as to how the visuals for this next part were going to go were a result of a very poorly made decision, but I really like what I had to say, so I kept it. So I want to apologize in advance. It's going to be a lot of fast scrolling. If you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, please avert your eyes and just open up your ears. I'm really sorry. Sorry. Okay, so unsurprisingly, this article concludes that the use of augmented reality or AR and gamification in education yields several benefits for students. Wow, what a shocker. One of the things that I really do appreciate most about this article is that the authors take time to describe today's student. Okay, you've probably heard the phrase digital natives before. The authors then go on to really describe today's students as having a sort of digital ease in terms of they were practically born with devices in their hands, and the fact that all varied kinds of media comes to them so quickly and so expectedly. Today's students have an instantaneous access to all forms of information. So therefore, the students' personalities are defined by what the authors call as flexible communities, the need for social interaction, the tendency towards favoring prompt responses, and just having a general direct connection with the world at large, with one another, and within themselves. Today's students now seek meaningful and more personalized learning experiences, a sort of authenticity, if you will, that they're most likely to be most engaging learning environment is real and experiential, and students are now expected, or at least they seem to tend to want to take a more active role in their learning as opposed to a previously accepted passive one. Um, their interest level must be peaked, and it is often peaked by taking their needs, all kinds of needs, into consideration. So, as far as that all goes, the study does a really good job of establishing research questions in which to categorize the studies which followed their eligibility criteria for selection in this study. So, as of 2020, which is when they gathered most of these studies, the authors found that Spain, Greece, Portugal, the United States, China, Malaysia, and Taiwan were home to most of the studies that discussed actual implementation and usage of AR and gamification in education as far as their countries and the research was concerned. So this is just a brief, again, list of where you can see the countries of research origin at the very left. Where the authors decided to gather levels of, age levels, subject matter or content area, developmental category, meaning what type of learning or what type of focus was this going to be featuring, sample size, and general aims in this table. This continues on again with whether the research method was quantitative, qualitative, or mixed, variables and research tools used. And then the last table goes on in terms of what type of specific, perhaps application name or platform, operating system, or device the particular studies were actually focused on, and what the kinds of information that they provided for readers. However, of primary note, I really wanted to point this out that the authors of this study make no bones about the fact that their study is flawed in these particular two categories. So one is educational stages. So you'll notice that uh, the highest category would be higher education or older students. But then, however, the second most prevalent category would be primary education, which would then be the youngest students. So that's probably worth another whole research study in and of itself. But the second category then would be, like I said, the developmental category. Um, the authors really stress that in this post-COVID era, it is equally, if not more so important, to consider social emotional learning and states of being and lessons and objectives and learning, day to day and environmental considerations and whatnot. However, a whopping 86% of the studies which they included in the systematic lit review focused more on cognitive abilities, skills, areas, learning, academic achievement, and whatnot. The study definitely, as you've seen, it does not ignore qualitative data. As a matter of fact, what it does is it pushes researchers towards using qualitative data to improve UX, or for those of you not familiar with that acronym, user experience. This paper concludes that this type of technology must be, is, and has been, and will always be, and need to be student centered completely. Um, in terms of theories that this approach actually satisfies, definitely engagement theory, which of course has to deal with student engagement, and instructional theory, which is the idea that students learn skills best based in a contextual environment in which they can correlate the use of learning the skill with real life in the future, whatever they see. um, this also aligns very strongly with the ubiquitous phrase 21st century skills. It's quite ironic that throughout the conclusion of this study, the word transformation is actually used frequently. The fact, again, besides ubiquitous, that this type of learning is pervasive. Um, and you can see here, once again, kind of more platitude leading terms, these kind of keywords, and boom goes the dynamite phrases that we longtime educators have seen consistently. Positive outcomes, improving the process, facilitating the transition, student engagement, motivation, knowledge, focus, interest, enjoyment, and so on and so forth. However, the really cool part I think that the authors include is understanding that, well, clearly this is educational technology, what's staring us in the face. However, what these authors want us to know is that they want us to take that to the next level in terms of designing real inclusive learning experiences and taking it a step further by infusing a little of educational psychology into the mix. One of the things about gamification that the researchers found that students really take to heart, um, in terms of virtual rewards and instant feedback. Again, both buzzwords that many of us longtime educators have heard so often. So there's no doubt that all of these positive attributes, all of these things that we aspire to, that we've heard, the politicians and the administrators throw around time and time again, they successfully manifest themselves in these studies, which clearly support augmented reality and gamification in the context of education. Hey again, you guys. So, in conclusion, for my Topic C video, there's so much other research and cool stuff that I wanted to share with you guys, but I realize I'm running out of time. We don't want to go too far over the time limit. So, I'll just share just a couple of really quick features with you guys. So, one of the research articles that I found, interestingly enough, was another published in 2022 that had to do with an actual experimental implementation of an augmented reality based board game adaptation called Revopoly for a computer technology design and learning course, um, for a university in Malaysia. So interestingly enough, one of the authors of the paper, Dr. Nardine, she has a series of these videos on YouTube that kind of more or less feature what the game looks like. What is it like to enter as a player? What are some of the experiences you can expect? What type of questions are there? What kind of pieces of technology do you need or know how? Are you expected to have before you actually play the game? But it's lovely. And of course, unsurprisingly, the research study showed that, what do you know? Students actually learned from this. They performed much better on their end of unit summative assessments on this topic, which I believe is the third iteration of the Industrial Revolution, much better than previously performed. So you all know that I'm a math teacher. And again, this was just combining these four main tenets of design, prototype, validation, and iteration. Many of you who are familiar with computer programming, it sounds familiar. That's because it is. And these researchers actually do a really good job of combining um, theor- theoreticians like Mays and Cannoli, in terms of learning stages versus technological development, to take kind of every single stage into consideration. Um, there's tons of recent research out there. It's interesting, it's relevant, and I wish I could go over more of it with you, but I think you guys get the main idea. So thank you for your time. Bye.